more light on this, we have the pleasure to have this phono with Dr. Heba Ashraf, Professor of Economics in a private university. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, Dr. Ashraf, now with Egypt launching the initiative of Green, Go Green, and preparations underway of the COP27, would you tell us more about the initiative and about its objectives?
Well, going green is one of the tools of achieving sustainability in itself. Sustainability means that you are going to use the resources wisely and rationally for as long as you can in order to serve the future generations. So going green means that you are going to use it efficiently, and of course this means that we are going to achieve sustainability and the goals of the SDGs as well.
Yes, so Dr. Ashraf, also how does the green economy contribute towards environmental sustainability?
As we said, using the resources rationally means that I'm not depleting most of the resources that I've got. So using clean energy in the transportation, for example, would make the other resources keep up for a longer period of time. So looking from it from an economic point of view, this will actually help so much in achieving the sustainability, because I'm now sure that I'm using the resources with less waste as much as possible.
Yes, Dr. Ashraf, Egypt has taken many steps to transform to a green economy. Would you tell us more about the focusing on the environment-friendly projects that are implemented in various fields?
There are a lot of projects actually mainly focused on the energy projects, especially generating solar energy in Aswan, the windmills in Ras Gharib, using also going green in agriculture means that we are using less waste materials as much as possible, and good fertilizer, natural ones as well. Also in transportation, we're using electricity rather than petrol. We're using electric buses and so on. So these are the major projects now aiming at clean energy and less emissions. By the way, less emissions will have an indirect effect over the health of people. So this means that you are going to increase the productivity and also on the resources, and it will help many different fields indirectly as well.
Yes, Dr. Ashraf, Egypt is pressing forward with renewable energy projects to reduce climate change. How far has Egypt progressed to reach that target?
Well, we can say that we have achieved that much. We are introducing the concept lately. It has been starting since 2019. But if you look to what we have achieved from 2019 till this day, it is actually more than what we had expected. Egypt is now launching all the projects with the concept of going green. And this will help so much later on after a few years. The concept will be in the back mind of each and every person and investor as well.
Yes, Dr. Ashraf, how does the state encourage the private sector to implement these clean energy projects?
As we said, introducing the concept of going green will be in the mind of everyone. So investors will start to work with this concept in mind, okay? That is why the country itself would provide them with incentives, of course, in tax incentives, permits, allowing them to enter new fields and so on, financial support as well, because this initiative cannot only be operated by the government. Private sector should play a big role as well.
Yes, Dr. Ashraf, could you tell us about the preparations taking place and underway before the Egypt hosting next November, the COP27 Climate Change Conference, and turning the city of Sharm el-Sheikh to a green city?
Yes, actually, the Prime Minister, His Excellency, and the ministers involved are holding meetings because, you know, it's just few months away. They are now in the preparation process, reviewing the initiatives that are going to be presented, shaping them in the form that is going to serve Egypt and the other countries. In addition, of course, to the logistical and organizational procedures that should be prepared for the guests and receiving the guests, of course. Of course, like the accommodation, the internal transport, the side programs that are going to be for touristic places and so on. By the way, we are very much interested in these events because it put Egypt on spot, and especially, Sharm el-Sheikh has its own charm for others to look and see what is going on there.
Yes, Dr. Ashraf, Sharm el-Sheikh International Hospital is presenting a role, a model for the first green hospital. So would you shed light on the importance of working with the concept of green hospitals?
The concept of green hospital is very useful for both the people who are taking the service, the patients themselves, and the country. It works with the concept of least energy used and least waste produced, okay? So this, of course, would decrease the operational cost of providing the service of health. This would benefit both the country so that it can provide more people with more health services, and of course will decrease the cost provided to the patients in order to get the health service. In addition, that it will have a positive implication over the health of people and over the environment where this hospital is working in. It's going to have less emissions, it's not going to affect others, and it will operate more efficiently later on. They will start, of course, with Sharm el-Sheikh hospital as a role model, and if it works efficiently, this will be the way all the new hospitals will be built in. As I said, it's going to be a concept in all the projects, or implemented all the projects that are going to be done later on.
Yes, Dr. Ashraf, also how far going green initiative would advance the government's healthcare system?
It would help them, as we said, because it's going to decrease the resources use, and it's going to help the government to expand its services all over the governorate. Okay, if you have a very high installment process in order to install a hospital, of course, when you want to expand this to other governorates, you're going to take more time because it's going to be a heavy load over the budget. But if you start something like this with a decreased cost, this means that you are going to expand the service to all the governorates in a faster pace.
Yes. Dr. Ashraf, during the COP26, Egypt warned that Africa is going to be the most hit by the climate change, despite that Africa is rich with natural resources. What's your comment on this?
Although Africa share in emission is only 4% all over the world, but the problem is that there is a political part related to the dumping of some waste in some countries in Africa, especially the poorest ones, because they are in need of financial support. So that's why sometimes they accept these activities. And Egypt is playing a major role in the continent, of course, and a leading role in the climate change issue. So we are trying to provide these countries with expertise, alleviate poverty also in these countries with some cooperation in order to decrease these activities, okay, in addition to use the resources available, and the continent actually is rich in them, in order to go away from what we call in economics the poverty trap. Most of the countries are experiencing, the poor countries, especially in Africa, are experiencing what we call the poverty trap. They are covering their basic needs. They are not accumulating capital for the future. Egypt is actually trying to help these countries to do so. So this, of course, will have a positive effect over decreasing the emissions and all these side effects.
Yes, so Dr. Ashraf, Egypt has invited African countries to hold consultative sessions on the climate change and on energy to coordinate the African position ahead of the COP27 in November. How can Egypt use the platform to press for the Africa due to the climate change and play a role in this continent?
Well, Egypt will use its power due to the hosting of the event itself, in addition to its political weight in the continent. In addition to also as we said, the cooperation and the providing of expertise, the investments, the side preparations with other countries of how to enhance the cooperation in different fields so that it can pursue the agenda of going green and decreasing the side effects that all the poor African countries are facing.
Yes, yes. Dr. Ashraf, the new administrative capital will become a model for environment and sustainable urban planning by using solar energy, increasing the number of green areas and recycling wastes. What's your comment and what do you suggest to transform Cairo to a green city?
Let's agree that when you start up something, so you take into consideration the new concepts while you're doing the startup. If you're building something from scratch, it's easy to incorporate the concepts. Usually the problem would be in transferring places like Cairo, other governorates who are actually operating with the old-fashioned way in providing energy to the new way. But actually, having a role model like the administrative capital would encourage people to do so. How to do this in the other governorates? The problem is in that people sometimes do not understand the concept, or they do not know how to change the energy sources that they have. Some people, yes, they want to change to solar energy, but they do not know how to do it. Also, previously, the cost of transferring to solar energy was very high. So some people were discouraged because you have to pay a lot of money to do so. Maybe the government, I feel the further years, of course, that's going to come, is going to encourage people by doing some incentives for them to change the sources of energy that they are using, and to enhance this concept more for people and provide some places or points to collect the waste materials and so on available all over the cities and all over the governorates as well. Yes. So later on, I know it's going to be promising more in this field.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information, Dr. Heba Ashraf, Professor of Economics. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone. Ladies and gentlemen, a short break and I'm going to be back with you.